You see what I got right here? This is ACT prep for getting ready to go to college. There was a time in my life when I spent the whole year freaking stressing on this test, then taking a class to take it better, and then I retook it, and then I got a higher score, and my college still didn't take me, so I retook it again until I could finally get into college. And the weird thing is, are these things even relevant anymore? Are people even going to college anymore? Because I got news for you. There's a lot of other alternatives out there, and the test scores are starting to reveal something kind of freaky.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go!
I was trying to get into 2 different universities back in the day, so I had to do ACT prep, I had to do SAT prep, and I have to tell you, when I was finally done retaking the thing 3 different times until I got the highest score, I was so excited to never have to deal with that crap ever again. But you know what? I got a daughter that I'm now helping prep for this crap, and she's like, Dad, do I really have to do this? And I'm like, no. So here's the question of the day. Are college prep tests still relevant? And more important, look at this. This is $500,000. And you know what's gonna boggle your mind? A little bit later, I'll share with you why the average person spends $500,000 on college. But if it ain't even relevant, or if you wanna understand the trends of where Gen Z's headed and the future of college, it's a whole new world. You might real quick be asking yourself, Kris, what is the ACT or the SAT test? The ACT or SAT is an entrance exam used by most colleges and universities to make admissions decisions. The purpose of this test is to measure basically a high school student's readiness for college. The average score on the ACT dropped for the 6th straight year from 19.8 now from 2022 to now 19.5 from the class of 2023. And we as human beings are either becoming dumber or we're doing life a little bit differently. The last time scores were this low was 1991. The ACT had been revised 2 years prior, and so basically people didn't know how to take the test. The ACT was, by the way, last revised now in 2015. That could lead to some of the low scores, but you think after 8 years, people would have maybe figured out how to take the new test. Regardless, Y polls found that 74% of students wish they had learned more about alternative career paths compared to traditional college education. The ACT does not hold as much weight because students are not interested in attending college. My generation was, if you don't have a college degree, you're going nowhere in life. Dude, now I own all these companies and I hire hundreds of people. And do you know that I don't say, can I please see your college degree or your advanced degree? I actually want to know one thing. Can you do this job? You're like, well, what about college? I don't really care about that. But can you do the job? Like, times have changed and a lot of people now know it. I just even recently made a video for Gen Z on why they're kicking millennials trash on owning real estate sooner, financially getting ahead faster. Psst, they're doing something different than college. You know, for the last decade, I have been warning people that college is becoming less desirable. And it's not been a very popular message, but can we just pause and acknowledge that we live in a world that has something called artificial intelligence? The purpose of education is to develop your mind. That's important. But more than anything, how we use our brain these days to access information or to organize other things and people and delegating things getting done, that's a way more useful skill set than can you be a cog in somebody else's machine. In 2021, 15.4 million students were enrolled in an undergraduate degree program. That is the lowest fall enrollment since 2006. The average cost of college has more than doubled, however, in the 21st century, with a growth rate of 2% over the past 10 years. The average in-state student attending a public four-year institution spends $26,000 just for one academic year. And the numbers get worse than this because remember, on average, you go to school for this many years. That's 5. So already, that's like close to $130,000. And yet that's not the true cost of college. Krohn, I thought you just said that like the true cost of college was more like $500,000. Check this out. The average cost of in-state tuition alone, right under $10,000. But out-of-state tuition, $27,000. However, the average private nonprofit university, a student spends a total of $55,000 per academic year living on campus, $38,000 of that, tuition and fees. If you consider your student loan interest, your loss of income during those 5 years, and then the ultimate cost of a bachelor degree, you could literally spend over $500,000 on tuition, expenses, and living, and all the money you could be making that you're not. And so the real question is, what is your plan in life? because going to college is not a default plan. You would want to have that plan if you more or less knew the career that you were pursuing and you knew why you were about to literally spend or lose $500,000 in pursuit of said career. And if you don't know what that is, should you even be spending that kind of money and going into that kind of debt with the big question mark of, I don't really know what to do with my life? At the same 4 years that I went to college, guess what I was doing? I was building my own business. It was a real estate investment business. And by the time I graduated college, I had 25 properties. They were paying me collectively a leftover of $12,500 every month of income, which meant that when I got a degree in family counseling, like there was no job I was gonna find out there that was going to pay me $150,000 a year. There was no job in that industry that was gonna pay me $70,000 a year. I'd have to go back for an MBA, a master's in something, maybe even a PhD to try to get to maybe $70,000 or $80,000 a year. But I had a side hustle during that time that I did during my college years that meant I could get my education. I didn't go into debt, but I also wound up with a really successful business. We understand as a country right now that as a record, $17.1 trillion is household debt. Here's the breakdown. 12 trillion in mortgages, 1.6 trillion in auto loans, but 1.6 trillion also in student loans. And then there's about $1 trillion in credit card debt. So if you take a look at these lines, the green one, the student loans, do you see how it and auto loans basically are side by side? 36% of Americans have more credit card debt than savings, while student loan payments have now resumed for the first time since 2020. And I know that President Joe Biden is doing everything in his power to win some votes for the young people by saying the government will go ahead and assume all your liabilities and you went to college for free. And he keeps trying and he hasn't quite figured it out yet. I don't know, maybe someday the liberals will get there. But for the time being, like you made the choice, you went into debt and now you have to eat that debt and pay that off for the rest of your life. And by the way, I think there's some other things that you should be considering. What I'm about to say might be the most important thing that I've ever told you on the subject matter of college. College is what you do to have a career. And the purpose of the career is to pay you a certain amount of money every year so that you can basically pay your debts. This right here is the average amount of money that a college graduate makes. It's about $50,000 a year. By the way, you have $500,000 in loss, maybe a couple $100,000 in debt. There's going to be interest with time. But this is all you're rewarded. And I want to be clear. This is so that you can be a cog in the machine and have a job that gives you a paycheck so that you can do life. But if you say, wait a second, I'm not going to college to have a career to pay, for life. I want to actually become financially free. And I have to bring that up because if you're a follower on my channel, if you're a subscriber, I'm doing nothing all day long about educating you on the game of money and life and business and real estate because that's how you achieve financial freedom, not college. College is not a requirement to be financially stable due to the many opportunities available. 53% of people who are college age are also working a side hustle to help them with earnings and savings. Real estate for me, by the way, it's only one type of side gig, but it was the side hustle that I did during college, like I explained earlier, that basically said when I graduated college, I made my mother-in-law happy, I got a piece of paper that said I was smart, but I graduated with the business that passively produced $150,000 a year, which meant that while all my graduated buddies were now going into the workforce or going back to college, I was retired and I was done. Here's my big question. The whole notion of college. Are you trying to get a piece of paper that says you're smart so that you can work in the workforce? Workforce is not requiring that from a lot of careers now these days. That's the trend of things. And if you're like, but Kris, I want to go to college because I want to be financially free, you don't go to college for that. You go to college to be a cog in the machine. You want to be financially free, you got to find a mentor like me. You got to find someone that has already achieved all of the wealth and then can give you the blueprint step by step of how you get there. Now, if you want that, check this out. Listen, I retired at the age of 26 and I built my whole business while I was in college. I was working for my degree, I had a job to stay out of debt, and I was doing a little business as a side hustle, and that side hustle was called real estate investing. And here's the thing, I didn't have money, I didn't have credit, but I had a blueprint on how to build the wealth. Now, check it out. This book is a free gift from me to you. It's called The Strait Path to Real Estate Wealth. It's basically how anybody, but especially young, dumb college kids with no money, no credit, no nothing, can build a real estate portfolio that will pay for everything in your life instead of you paying for it. Now, if you click the link below, I'm giving you the book for free. And this book is because I got sick and tired of people saying, Kris, how did you do it? Step by step, how did you do it? Step by step, how did you become a multimillionaire? So instead I wrote a book, and I want to give this to you as a gift from me to you. All I'm asking you to do when you click the link below is just cover the cost of the shipping. The book itself, it's yours, and it will literally tell you the 5 steps of what you do to build that wealth. So click the link, grab the book, and immediately let me serve you and show you. While the book is waiting to come in the mail, I'll give you a digital file so that if you're really excited, you can get started right now on the straight path to building wealth. Kris Krohn, there is no way that while you were a college kid with no money that you built a real estate portfolio of 25 homes. I get it, and that's why I made a video showing you step by step exactly how I did it. And if you click right here, let me give you the video and let me take you on a journey of how someone starting literally young with nothing can go somewhere really far in life.